Did you know that less than 10% of you currently watching are subscribed? That's really depressing, so if you haven't done so already, please consider smashing that subscribe button. I really appreciate your support, and let's just get right back into the video. Love you! Welcome back to my channel. So as you've probably seen by the title, today we're going to be doing a review on Twilly d'Hermès Au Poivrée. I mean, I really don't know how that is pronounced. I looked up a pronunciation, but I really just cannot say it. So we're just gonna move on. If you're new to my channel, make sure to smash that subscribe button. And if you're coming back, I'm so happy to have you here and I hope you're all well. First, I want to talk about why I decided to, I guess, get this perfume. Hermès has always been a very, just super high-end brand to me. I think the main thing for me, whenever I think of Hermès, I always think about that $500,000 white Himalayan crocodile scale Birkin that they have. So yeah, that's kind of the first thing that comes to mind whenever I think of Hermès. So just really expensive, high-end. But as for their probably most popular women's perfume, which is Twilly, the price is actually closer to just standard designer perfumes as opposed to just really high niche prices in the hundreds. I've also just seen a ton of reviews on the original Twilly, and it really just does not sound like my cup of tea at all. I've heard that it's really loud, kind of smells like some kind of cleaning product, very chemical, floral, earthy, mature, really mature thing going on. So I was I don't even want to bother trying this because I feel I just know I'm not gonna like it based on the reviews that I've watched. But surprisingly, after I heard about Poivrée, the flanker, which came out a couple years ago, a few of the other content creators also here on YouTube that I tend to have really, or I wouldn't say really, but pretty similar taste to. I'm mainly thinking of Amy Glam and Ksenia. They both tend to just sweeter, more sugary, gourmand, delicious, sensual kind of perfumes, and they will stray away from things like heavy florals, stuff like that, which it's totally me as well. So I feel whenever they have a firm opinion on a perfume, I always really jot that down in my head. So both of them actually like Au Poivrée, which is honestly surprising because let's just go into the notes. So there are only 3 notes in this entire perfume, and this is the kind of scent that I feel it has 3 notes listed, but there could be 30 and I wouldn't bat an eye because it smells so incredibly complex. The top note is pink pepper, the middle note is rose, and the base note is patchouli. Super simple, but don't let that fool you because it has so much more depth to it. And I feel especially the funny thing about these notes is these are not notes that I typically like, which is why I found it really odd that people like Ksenia and Amy Glam turned out to really like this fragrance. So I was you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot. This is a really classy fragrance. It definitely has this retro vibe going on. It has a very classic smell, almost kind of giving the same vibe as classic Chanel's, which with me, I tend to absolutely despise really mature, old, vintage smelling perfumes. But what differentiates this perfume from, I feel the Chanel ones that I really cannot stand, while this does have a really mature vibe going on, the pink pepper in the opening is what really gives it this youthful kick, and it prevents it from being too grandma-esque. There's almost kind of a sparkling aspect to it, and it's really, I think this pink pepper is done so beautifully. Pepper is usually a note that I get kind of scared when I see it on the note pyramid for a fragrance because it can be extremely polarizing. This one, I would say the pepper is pretty moderate, and if I were to put that into perspective, so if Glossier U is on this end, and I don't have it with me right now, and if Angel Muse is on this end, I would say Twilly kind of is in the middle in terms of the strength of that pepper. So with Glossier U, it has this really beautiful floral pink pepper, and really the pepper in this does not give it any spice whatsoever. It just gives it this really clean musky accord. The pink pepper in Au Poivrée, it does add some spice to it. It gives it that again, sparkling property. And then on the other end, which is one of the most polarizing pink pepper perfumes in my opinion, Angel Muse, the pink pepper in that is so spicy that it makes me sneeze. It is overwhelmingly strong. Twilly, it's definitely more than a smooth, sweet floral pepper, but it's nowhere near as earthy and spicy and just really oriental as Angel Muse. I almost think that this smells like it could be some kind of sparkling drink, expensive sparkling beverage. Definitely one in a really like bougie expensive bottle because this is definitely such an expensive smelling perfume. Like this straight up smells like money. I feel like this is like the epitome of a scent that you will just never find at somewhere like Bath and Body Works or like a discount drugstore or something like that, because it's just so complex. So I've spent so much time just talking about that pink pepper, but I think that is really the star of the show for me. And also the perfume is Eau Poivrée. Poivrée is like pepper in French, I'm pretty sure. So like,
bonjour mademoiselle, j'ai pris lunettes soleil, je veux m'en venger, merci beaucoup, je oui oui baguette, bisous.
that's kind of like, the pepper is really just like the star of the show, so I really wanted to go in detail on that. As for rose is a note that I absolutely cannot stand. I really don't like the smell of rose in perfumes, but in this one, the rose is definitely there, but it's not an extremely pungent rose. It's definitely a lot lighter. Even as like an active rose hater, this is not something that I find too strong or just like a specific kind of floral. And as for patchouli, honestly, I don't get too much of the patchouli. There is like a certain amount of earthiness to the fragrance. Twilly Eau Poivrée, actually, it has a sweetness to it, which is interesting to me because none of the notes are particularly sweet. Like you wouldn't expect pepper, rose, and patchouli by itself to have like any sort of sweetness. I feel like I could have a fruit note to it, almost like maybe it has some like red berry action going on, maybe like some cranberry. Let's get into the review. So presentation, I just feel like at this point, like an ongoing theme with all of my fragrance purchases is that I tend to buy perfumes that I really like the bottles of. Like a perfume can have like a really beautiful bottle and I will just find a way to convince myself that I like the perfume enough to like blind buy it. I don't know, this bottle is just so adorable to me. It is, of course, it has the iconic Twilly. The bottle has, it's one of these atomizers that's like pretty tall, so like you can probably control how much you spray. It's definitely a very nice atomizer. Last thing, I also really adore the box. It is just so cute. If you guys have ever been inside an Hermes store, you'll see so much of this kind of pattern, like on all of their like furniture, clothing, fabrics. They have like this iconic Hermes theme aesthetic going on, and I just think this is really cute. It also just has a very luxurious and high-end feeling finish. Like this is a very like matte paper cardboard type texture. I mean, Hermes is just so expensive. They know how to make things super classy, so just presentation really just better than most designer bottles, I would feel like. As for the smell, is this like my favorite smell of all time? No. Is this something that I would reach for every day? No. But is it a beautiful and well-made fragrance? Absolutely. This is definitely a much more like special occasion type scent for me because it's just so unique. But this is something that I really have to be in a particular mood for, because I would say more often than not, I just want to smell like something a lot more sweet, creamy, edible, gourmand. That's just the kind of scent that I really adore. And this is kind of like the opposite of that, which doesn't make it bad by any means, just not something that would be like my signature scent. This is just like a once like every now and then, like if I really want to smell unique, really want to like stray away from what I'm used to wearing. And I really don't like to separate perfumes by gender and age because I really feel like anyone can wear whatever they want. But I think if I were to kind of give a rough outline, I would say this is definitely an older appealing fragrance, maybe like 25 years and up. I really don't see anyone younger than that wearing this just because it does have this really mature complexity to it. And I really don't want to make that sound like this is like a really like grandma perfume, because it's not. Like this is something that I have worn a few times because I just really enjoy it, but it's definitely mature, it's sophisticated, it's classy, and it's elegant, and it's not something you would smell on a child or a teenager. As for the performance of Twilly Eau Poivrée is really great. I mean, I feel like any perfume with this kind of scent profile would naturally just last such a long time, lasts forever on my skin. I can put it on start of the day, by the time it's like late at night, I'm about to take a shower, like I can still smell this stuff on my skin. It is such a great performer. Projection is definitely there. You will be noticed, and I think you'll definitely get some compliments on this as well. They really nailed this formula. But keep in mind that also means that if you are someone who is like really sensitive to smell, or you get like headaches or like lung aches, I personally get like lung aches, like when I like breathe too much perfume in, like my chest will kind of start to hurt. Okay, literally no one asked. If you are really sensitive to strong smells, this is something that I would be careful with, because again, it is a very just strong projecting fragrance, especially with that pepper. It makes it really, really bright. So overall, my grade for Twilly de Hermes Eau Poivrée is an A-. There are so many redeeming factors to this fragrance. It really is so stunning. And even though it's not like my personal favorite kind of scent, I recognize that this is a really, really well-made perfume. And it really does just excel in all three categories, especially presentation and performance, I feel like are so well done. I would of course like to know your thoughts on this fragrance if you've smelled this one or the original. Again, thank you guys so much for stopping by. Make sure to subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.